Okay, from one consumption related company to another, Crompton Greaves Consumer as well delivered its numbers. There of course obviously was a drop in revenues because of the lockdown, but there seems to be an increase in demand for home appliances. Rural demand as well is something that we'd like to watch out for. Shantanu Khosla, the MD of Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals, joins us now on the show. Shantanu, many thanks for joining in. I hope you and your team at the company staying safe. So of course, no doubt that the lockdown has obviously hit the revenues. However, I think people are more keen about looking at demand from here on. As we've entered this unlock phase, yes, there are sporadic lockdowns by various states, but largely we are in this unlock phase. What is demand looking like now? I mean, how has the pace of recovery been? Better than you've anticipated or just in line?
I think the pace was better than we anticipated. Like everyone knows, April was a complete washout, but big things began improving from May onwards. In May, we did about 70% of what we would have normally done, and things continued to improve through June, and in June itself, we did about 90% of what we had done the year before in June. So we see a definite uptick. As we look at early parts of July, we're continuing to see this uptick, even though there are continuous sporadic lockdowns happening city to city, town to town, district to district. More importantly, also through this extremely turbulent quarter, we were extremely successful in terms of our ability to take cost out of the system. So though the total size of the business and the top line declined significantly because of April largely, we were actually able to hold our margins, both at gross margin and also at PBD level, which as the demand continues to recover, we see as a very encouraging sign for the future.
All right. Shantanu, I just want to understand that, look, we were, of course, in a lockdown. It was almost a month and a half of it, right? This pace, this demand recovery that you're witnessing, do you believe that it's also just pent up, and maybe it's like this period of one-time surge in demand for whether it's appliances, electricals, or fans, or whatever it is? And do you believe that after that brief period of the pent-up demand coming into the market, it may just suddenly plummet once again?
We don't really think so, because if you look at the way the demand came back, it was a steady and gradual increase. So it's not that we had a peak suddenly and it declined. So May improved, June improved on May, and July early signs are reasonably positive. Also importantly, beyond just our primary sale trends, we also track secondary sales, which is movement out of our dealers, and that also over these past 2 months has shown a similar trend. So it doesn't seem to be a one-time surge in demand or inventory. It seems more to be a steady comeback, and the underlying demand seems reasonably positive.
Mr. Shantanu, everybody is talking about a pre-COVID world and a post-COVID world. Where do you see consumption demand in the post-COVID world? You think over a period of time, as the vaccine comes, as probably positive news flow comes, things again open up, people will forget about it and normal consumption will be back?
Two aspects to pre versus post. The first aspect is this experience, this terrible epidemic, has led to some behavior and channel changes which are likely to only accelerate and continue. For example, in terms of channels, we see clearly a significant opportunity and growth happening in the e-commerce channel. The second channel which we see having a greater opportunity, and we're doubling down our investments, is the small town and rural area. The other aspect of pre versus post is that we see that there are going to be some changes in consumer behavior. Now, these were trends which existed before, but we believe they will accelerate. One clear consumer trend which will emerge and become more important, and we built into our innovation investments, is the whole wellness, cleanliness, health need of consumers, which we believe is going to become more and more important. Beyond that, if we look at the other aspect of the post-COVID world and we look, further out, 12 months, 18 months, I think it's quite clear that overall there will be some macro impacts and GDPs, etc., will slow down. These tend to have impacts on overall consumption level, but once you're past that, consumption does come back. After all, our categories are pretty much essentials. They're not like foods and staples, but when you need a fan, you need a fan. When you need a light, you need a light. It's not really a discretionary purchase. And we do expect over time that to come back.
Mr. Shantanu, we've always interviewed you, in and around your results and what's really happening. So this is the first time that you've got a complete change in terms of look. Will this look stay in the post-COVID world?
You tell me. Well, without a doubt,
really, thanks so much.
10 minutes every morning of not shaving is a good thing.
10 minutes every morning of not shaving is a good thing.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking our time for us. Always good to get perspective from you. 36 points down for the Nifty. You heard it from the management at Crompton Greaves Consumer. You rarely get to see them on TV. And of course, Mr. Shantanu has seen a lot of cycles in the consumption pack, saying that in the long run, things would tend to become normalized. On that note, we're taking a break. Coming back quickly.